Listen up, you lot. You think you've seen it all in the culinary world? Well, get ready to have your minds blown because today we're diving headfirst into the bizarre world of foods that seem to defy nature itself. From a wriggling octopus that refuses to give up to cheese with a life of its own, and even fish so deadly it poisons itself, these 8 dishes are not for the faint of heart. So buckle up, you Muppets, and get ready to witness the weirdest, most unsettling foods on this planet. Alright, you donkey. Let's kick off this culinary roller coaster with a dish that's alive and kicking, literally. Sanakji, a delicacy from the depths of Korean cuisine, isn't for the faint of heart. We're talking about freshly chopped baby octopus, tentacles and all, still wriggling on your plate like they're auditioning for a horror movie. You see those suckers, those little suction cups? They're still active, even after the octopus is chopped. That means if you don't chew properly, if you even think about swallowing before it's a paste in your mouth, BAM! You're in for a choking hazard. People in South Korea end up in the emergency room every year because of this slippery sucker. It's a culinary game of Russian roulette. The octopus is fighting for its life, your taste buds are in for a hell of a ride, and you, my friend, are caught in the middle. Some say it's the ultimate test of bravery, others say it's just plain crazy. Just make sure your life insurance is up to date. Listen, I'm all for a good cheese pull, something that stretches and oozes with the best of them. But this next dish takes melty goodness to a whole new level. Switzerland, the land of breathtaking scenery and chocolate, is also home to a cheese experience that's as mesmerizing as it is delicious. Fondue and raclette. Fondue is all about sharing, about communal dipping, and trust me, once you get a taste of that hot, gooey goodness, you won't want to share with anyone. Then there's raclette, where an entire wheel of cheese becomes your playground. This cheese is like a lava flow of flavor, slowly melting and cascading down, just daring you to grab a hunk of bread and catch it. So ditch the diet and grab a fork, because when it comes to fondue and raclette, resistance is futile. Now listen up, you lot, because this next one is serious business. We're diving into the world of culinary danger. We're talking about fugu, the infamous pufferfish from Japan. And this ain't your average fish and chips, mate. This fish is a whole different ballgame. This delicacy is so dangerous, so ridiculously poisonous, that it makes playing with fire look like a walk in the park. Imagine a meal that could be your last. The poison in this fish, it's not messing about, it's a silent killer, lurking beneath the surface. It's called tetrodotoxin, and it's deadly enough to send you to the pearly gates with just a single bite. This toxin is 1,200 times more poisonous than cyanide. We're talking tingling lips, paralysis, respiratory failure, the whole 9 yards. It's a swift and brutal end if you're not careful. But here's the kicker. Even after the fugu dies, even after it's been filleted and prepped, the poison keeps working. It's like a ghost that haunts the dish. It's like the fish is so toxic it's poisoning itself from beyond the grave. The danger never truly goes away. That's why only a select few chefs in Japan, highly trained ninjas of the culinary world, are licensed to prepare fugu. They undergo years of rigorous training. One wrong move, one slip of the knife, and it's game over for the chef and the customer. Precision and skill are paramount. Some say it's the thrill, the adrenaline rush of cheating death with every bite. It's a high-stakes gamble with your life on the line. Call me a coward, but I'd rather leave this deadly delicacy to the daredevils. Sometimes it's better to play it safe. Alright, you lot, brace yourselves because this next one is not for the faint of heart or the weak of stomach. We're heading to Iceland, the land of glaciers and geysers, to sample a dish that's been described as smelling like a combination of a gym sock and a public restroom on a hot day. Yes, you heard that right. A gym sock and a public restroom. I'm talking about hakarl, fermented shark meat that's been buried underground and left to rot for months. This isn't just any fermentation process, it's a tradition that dates back centuries. You heard me right, Rot. Now you might be wondering why anyone would subject themselves to such a thing. It's not just about the taste, it's about the history and the culture behind it. Well, it all comes down to survival, my friends. Back in the day, Icelanders had to get creative to make sure they had enough food to last through the harsh winters. You see, in Iceland, fresh shark meat is actually toxic. It contains high levels of urea and trimethylamine oxide, which are harmful if consumed directly. Full of nasty stuff that your body can't digest. Eating it fresh could make you seriously ill. So, what did the resourceful Icelanders do? They buried the damn thing, they let nature take its course, allowing the meat to ferment and the toxins to break down. They figured out that by burying the shark meat and letting it ferment, letting it essentially eat itself alive, they could break down those toxins and make it edible. This process takes months, and it's a true test of patience. And when I say edible, I use the term loosely. It's not exactly a gourmet experience. The result is a pungent, ammonia-rich delicacy that's definitely an acquired taste. The smell alone is enough to make most people gag. Imagine the most intense cheese you've ever had, then multiply that by 10, add a dash of fish sauce and leave it to fester in a dumpster fire. It's a sensory overload to say the least. Would I recommend it? Honestly, not in a million years. It's one of those things you try once and never forget, for better or worse. But hey, if you're feeling adventurous, if you want to challenge your taste buds and your gag reflex, then go for it. Just make sure you have a strong stomach and an open mind. Right, let's head over to China, where they've taken the concept of fresh seafood to a whole new level of crazy. I'm talking about drunken shrimp, a dish that's as wild as it sounds. We're talking live shrimp, swimming in a pool of potent alcohol, served up on your plate ready to party. Now these aren't your average cocktail shrimp. Oh no, these little fellas are still kicking, still full of life. As they take a bath in their boozy jacuzzi, the alcohol stuns them, makes them a little tipsy, shall we say, and that's when you strike. You pluck the disoriented shrimp from their boozy bath, toss them into your mouth and feel them squirming, fighting for freedom with every bite. It's a textural experience like no other, a strange mix of crunchy and slippery. Some people swear by the freshness, the sweetness of the shrimp amplified by the alcohol, but I think I'll stick to my shrimp cocktail, nicely cooked and without the added bonus of a potential escape attempt. Listen, I've smelled some pretty ripe things in my kitchen, some truly gut-wrenching aromas. From overripe cheeses to fermented fish, I've encountered it all. But this next dish, well, it takes the biscuit for sheer olfactory assault. It's not just a smell, it's an experience that hits you like a freight train. We're traveling to the bustling streets of Taiwan and China, where the pungent aroma of stinky tofu fills the air, and it's not for the faint of nose. The scent is so strong it can be detected from blocks away. Imagine this, fermented tofu left to fester and ferment in a brine of milk, vegetables, and sometimes even meat for weeks, sometimes months. The concoction is a bubbling cauldron of potent ingredients. The longer it sits, the stronger the smell, the more intense the flavor. It's a process that requires patience and a strong stomach. And trust me, this stuff is potent. One whiff, and you'll never forget it. The fermentation process is a wild ride, a bacterial battleground that transforms the tofu into something completely different. It's a science experiment gone deliciously right. It swells up, sometimes to twice its original size, and if you're lucky, you might even witness the spectacle of a stinky tofu explosion. It's a sight to behold. Yes, you heard me right. Explosion. The pressure builds up until it can't be contained. It's a sensory overload, a culinary assault on your nostrils and your taste buds. The smell might be off-putting, but the taste is something else entirely. But for those who have acquired the taste, it's a beloved street food, a crispy, pungent, and utterly addictive snack. It's a testament to the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Now for something a little less terrifying and a lot more aesthetically pleasing. We're diving into the world of Japanese desserts where culinary artistry meets scientific precision. Get ready for jelly desserts so delicate, so mesmerizing that they seem to disappear right before your eyes. These aren't your average Jell-O molds, no sir. We're talking about intricate creations infused with delicate flavors and designed to melt at specific temperatures. Picture this, a shimmering dome of jelly glistening like a jewel, placed before you with a flourish. But here's the catch. This dessert has a time limit. As the warmth of the room seeps in, the jelly slowly begins to melt, transforming from a solid masterpiece into a puddle of sweet, shimmering liquid. It's like a culinary magic trick, a race against time to savor the flavors before they vanish entirely. The taste is light, refreshing, and fleeting, just like the dessert itself. Alright you lot, let's finish this culinary adventure with a fruit that bites back. We're talking about the humble pineapple, a tropical delight that's hiding a surprising secret. It eats you back. It's not as sinister as it sounds, but it's definitely a bit strange. You see, pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain, which is a bit of a troublemaker in the digestive department. Bromelain breaks down proteins, and guess what your mouth is full of? You got it, proteins. So when you chomp down on a juicy pineapple, that bromelain goes to work, breaking down the proteins in your mouth. essentially giving your tongue a gentle exfoliation. That's why you get that tingling, almost burning sensation when you eat too much pineapple. It's like the pineapple is fighting back, defending itself with a flurry of digestive enzymes. Just think of it as a culinary reminder that even the sweetest things in life can have a bit of a bite to them. So there you have it, you lot. 8 of the weirdest, most unsettling foods on the planet. From wriggling tentacles to self-destructing fish and even cheese with a life of its own, the culinary world is full of surprises. Which of these bizarre dishes would you be brave enough to try? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to tell me what culinary craziness I should explore next. Until next time, get cooking.